Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Maybe some people not so happy, huh? Maybe some people not so happy. Anyways, the Bitcoin fiat exchange right now, 82,000. What is it? 82,753. We're looking at 2 sats per V-byte on the transactions, and total lightning capacity hasn't moved. The block height, 934,362. Well, at least the block height keeps going up, right? That's our typical line when we're coping. Well, the block height keeps going up, so that's good. Good morning, Hard Hodl. All right, so let's dive into it, guys. We've got that's right. The carrot on the end of the stick. Something big happened 7 years, and it hasn't happened until now, right? So big news there. We're going to take a look at what that exactly is. What does that mean for Bitcoin? We're also going to take a look at the new Fed chair that was announced, right? Didn't seem to move the markets at all, right? What does that mean? That's not a good thing usually when you have news like that drops and absolutely nothing happens and or the market goes down. So interesting stuff. Anyways, Bitcoin probably moves soon. That's quite the assumption. The longest BTC gold bear market ever was 14 months. As you could imagine, guys, here we are. Pretty much at 14 months. Is it different this time? We're going to take a look. The Bitcoin treasury companies, that's right. While most of them can't really afford to buy Bitcoin, and some of them even sold some Bitcoin, even though their sole reason for existence is to buy and hodl Bitcoin. Yeah, well, we actually have an announcement of a nice little company here that's still stacking away. And it's kind of funny because hodlers actually make fun of this. I mean, not all of them, but I've seen a few people make comments, and we're going to take a look at that. All right. For the state, obviously, the new Fed chair announced. SEC Chair Paul Atkins, he's saying the time is right now for crypto and Bitcoin in 401ks. We're going to take a look at that. Market structure bill update, of course, and Russia to roll out crypto regulatory framework. We're going to take a look at what that's all about, guys. What an end to the week, right? Kind of surprised that the Fed news didn't move anything. Anyways, we're going to dive into all that stuff. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right. So let's just rip the Band-Aid right off. Bitcoin is now officially down 3.5% year to date. I'm supposed to cry about it. If we close January down, it will be the 4th straight down month. Not even after FTX. That's right, guys. For the people who were around in 2022, and you do remember the FTX collapse. I mean, we didn't even get an FTX this time. Think about that for a second. We didn't even get an FTX. For the people that are looking at the slide right now, right? The FTX collapse happened here on the when we're taking a look at these slides back in 2022, well, end of 2021. You can see the double top, right? That double top, essentially, the second top is where we started to experience that. And look, the last time that we saw these 4 straight down months was going back to 2019. Oh, well, it's too bad, huh? It's just too bad. Hey, good morning, Roman. Good morning, Roman. All right. Yeah, I figured we just get rid of that right away. Okay, so to me, I mean, this means nothing. However, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this candle formation here is not ugly as hell. It truly is. But you know what? I'm not going to pretend to know where this is going and what's going to happen. I'm just paying attention to the actual market sentiment and what people are doing, right? And Don't worry. We got the Hopium. I see ACP. I told you we're ripping the Band-Aid off first, right? So I'm getting rid of this so that we can move straight into the Hopium. We had to do it. Okay, don't worry. And again, the reason why this is Hopium is because maybe the pain has passed. That's called copium. Okay, let's continue, guys. All right, we all know the deal. This is kind of one of the red flags that bothers me, right? Because Trump officially selects Kevin Warsh as new Federal Reserve Chair. Warsh has previously said if you're under 40, Bitcoin is your new gold. We're going to take a look at some comments that he made back in 2021 and also most recently in July of 2025.
On board with Bitcoin. I know Stan Druckenmiller is now on board. I think
this is the clip from 2021, even though people are for whatever reason showing it as something that's like recent. It's not. I mean, you could even investors eye the Georgia race. Yeah, good luck with that one today.
We've talked about Bitcoin in the past. I think you had a perhaps a lesser view. I don't know if you have a different view today.
Stan calls me his partner. I call him my boss. One of us is lying, but I'll let you figure out who's who in that, Andrew. So I'd say I think that Bitcoin does make sense as part of a portfolio in this environment where you have the most fundamental shift, for example, in monetary policy since Paul Volcker. This is a big shift that we're seeing under the Powell Fed, rightly or wrongly. So I'm not surprised in a period of dollar weakness where Bitcoin's doing what it's doing. And I'd also suggest that part of the move in Bitcoin is taking some of the bid away from gold. I think if Bitcoin never existed.
That's interesting, right? This is back in 2021, and here we are today, and we're clearly seeing that that's not what happened.
Gold would be rallying even more right now, but I guess if you're under 40, Bitcoin is your new gold. So I think of Bitcoin as a lot of things, but it's certainly...
I'm not under 40, but Bitcoin is definitely my new gold. I was never attracted by gold anyways, and it could have to do with the fact that my father worked and works with metals, and his business was around that. So for some reason, I just saw it as like this antiquated thing all the time. Again, I'm not saying my framing is correct. Just that's what it was.
With every passing day, getting new life as an alternative currency. And when you see the strength of the euro, the strength of the pound, the strength of the RMB, the Korean won, the Mexican peso, I guess we shouldn't be surprised to see the strength of Bitcoin as well.
Okay, let's fast forward to 2025.
You made reference to Bitcoin, and I thought I heard a little bit of condescension that people are buying Bitcoin and these things.
But doesn't it? Charlie Munger, this is 2 or 3 years before he died, Charlie Munger attacked Bitcoin. He called it evil, in part because it would begin to undermine the Fed's ability to manage the economy.
Or it could provide market discipline. Or it could tell the world that things need to be fixed.
Bitcoin does not make you nervous.
Bitcoin does not make me nervous. I can hearken back to a dinner I had here in 2011 with someone who is another guest on your show. I won't say his name. Okay, I just did Mark Andreessen, who showed me the white paper. That was the original white paper. I wish I had understood as clearly as he did how transformative Bitcoin and this new technology would be. Bitcoin doesn't trouble me. I think of it as an important asset that can help inform policymakers when they're doing things right and wrong.
He's seeing it as a meter stick, right? And the other thing I want to point out is that if you're afraid of what Bitcoin means, it's most likely because you bought and drank the statist Kool-Aid.
It is not a substitute to the dollar. I think it can often be a very good policeman for policy. And if I were to speak more broadly to what did Charlie Munger and others perhaps have in mind, there is a proliferation of securities that go under all sorts of names. Many, if not most of them, are not worth what they might be being traded for. So what did Charlie say, and maybe his pal Warren say? There's the innovators, the imitators, and the incompetents. They're real innovators that are happening in and around that new technology. And what I would try to impart towards businesses and bankers is that the underlying technology that Mark showed me in that white paper, or tried to show me in that white paper, it's just software. It's just the newest, coolest software that will provide us an ability to do things that we could never have done before. Can the software be used for good and evil? Yes, both, like all software. Right. So I don't cast aspersions like that. If there's a final point, it's these technologies are being built here. I don't just mean on Stanford campus. I believe in the United States. And the world's most talented engineers from China and Europe and everywhere, they come to the United States even now to try to build this stuff. And my view is by building it here, that gives us an opportunity to be more productive and create something very special over the next decade.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, he definitely seems like a friend to Bitcoin. However, I know it's tough when you're trying to look at it objectively. He alluded to the technology, right? And he also alluded to some innovators. We're going to have to see what he means by that, because if he's talking about shitcoin stuff, he may have missed the mark. So we're gonna have to see. I always get, it's not unusual. We've seen this time and time again, right? They love Bitcoin. Bitcoin is great. Bitcoin is fantastic. And then all of a sudden, once the wheels start to turn, it becomes shitcoins. Because immediately, for whatever reason, either the plan was already set in place, or they immediately realized that in order to capitalize on this, you're gonna have to make shitcoins, because Bitcoin requires proof of work and value creation. So good luck with that, Who's got the central banker 10? He does? Yeah, probably. Not me. I don't know. Central banker 10. I'm not a central banker. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. So anyways, I mean, look, we'll have to see. The jury is out. Let's see what he does. We could probably prepare for another couple of weeks of, some turmoil and stuff like that, I guess. All right, let's dive into the Hopium. Here we go, guys. Frank. Well, actually, the new Fed chair is also part of the Hopium, because it gets rid of some of the confusion that's going on in the market, right? It lets people see things a little more clearly. So Frank says Bitcoin probably moves soon because Bitcoin has a full tank of gas and our choppiness index is bottoming out. Okay, why not? I'll take it. I will take it. I've looked at probably 40 of these charts in the last couple of weeks. Nothing has changed. We're just crabbing along. Anyways, the longest BTC Gold bear market ever was 14 months, and we are currently 14 months in. There it is, guys. After every single time, we started to move a lot higher. So to the people that are saying this time it's different, I'm guessing you mean not that aspect, right? You're talking about something else. Because if this time it's different, that means we don't move. Yeah. All right, so I'm back to hoping that this time it's not different. That's where I'm at. All right, let's hope it's more of the same. We start to move higher. All right, guys. The Bitcoin treasury companies, West Maine Self-Storage buys an additional. You're probably wondering, you're like, Phil, how come there isn't more news about this? Because most of these Bitcoin treasury companies aren't really buying that much Bitcoin anymore. Or let me rephrase that. The announcements aren't that exciting anymore, right? Because Bitcoin isn't trading over 100K. So who really cares about these companies buying Bitcoin? And of course, because they're doing it for attention, it's worthless to them. So you kind of start to see how incentives play into this, right? They want to tell you about Bitcoin when Bitcoin's doing really well. But to the true businesses that are actually stacking, actually hodling, and actually believe in the separation of money and state, or the ability to store your value into the future, they don't give a shit. They're just buying. Okay, so good for you, West Maine, right? They've got 2.62 BTC. I know it's maybe not that much to some people. I saw it, like I said, there were some people, which, guys, all of this stuff is in the show notes, so you can go take a look at the thread. There was a couple of people clowning them, right? That's okay. You clown them. It just shows your insecurity. I'm happy to see these small companies buying Bitcoin. companies that can hopefully afford to hold it. Like I bet you this company can actually afford to hold their Bitcoin in a downturn because they've got operating revenue. They can afford to keep the lights on without, kicking people in the nuts. Exactly, man. We all got to start somewhere. Absolutely. I can't stand freaking stack shaming and stuff like that. Like this weird flex that some people do. It's just so odd. Like, tell me more about your insecurity, please. That you have to sit there and flex your stack to internet strangers. It's good times. It's good times. Okay, more of the state stuff. Let's keep going here. The SEC Chair Paul Atkins says the time is right to allow crypto into 401k retirement accounts. Okay. Last video.
In retirement accounts creates a fertile ground for workers and families to lose big. How do you think about crypto versus any other kind of investment for the average American family out there?
Well, Andrew, a lot of people are already exposed to crypto and other sorts of assets like that through their pension funds, and because they're managed by professional managers in those pension funds. So we're talking about the 401ks now, where we have to do things with respect to the different markets very carefully. We're focused right now on private securities, private equity funds, and things like that, where again, a lot of people are already exposed to those in their managed pension funds, and so we're looking to allow people to have access to those through their 401k, through the professional management of the what is allowed into their funds, their trustees that are looking after those funds. But right. I think the time is ripe to go forward with that in a measured way that has guardrails to protect the retirees.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think even the derivatives that are being created on Bitcoin obviously introduce a new layer of risk, but Bitcoin funds, this is going to be bad. And what's too bad is that when this all inevitably falls apart because of the shitcoins, this is, obviously Bitcoin will be to blame as well. I just wanted to bring up here from Mr. Dinkles, right? Why not criticize the company that doesn't hold Bitcoin, Danny? Yeah, I watched that whole interview, not just the clips. And to a certain extent, right? I thought about this one. And so that's the interesting thing. I think Saylor, and I'm actually going to talk about this with Eric Yakes in our interview this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. But essentially, I think Saylor is misframing that argument from Danny in order to make his point. Because it's not like, obviously, I'd love it if, Apple decided, hey, we've got billions in cash, we should just hold Bitcoin. And I know that Apple can afford to hold Bitcoin for a really long time. Same thing with Google, same thing with Microsoft, same thing with all of these giant players. Of course, there's the argument to be made, well, those aren't individuals. Maybe we want individuals storing their value into the future, right? There's some people that prescribe to the meme that Bitcoin is for the people. So the thing is that it's not about those businesses not buying Bitcoin. The point is that the overwhelming majority of businesses that have bought Bitcoin don't actually have operating revenues, or dwindling operating revenues, or they're swimming in debt, or they really just they have a dying business. And this was a way to bring attention to their shares. This didn't give them more revenue. This didn't help build their business. It just gave attention to their shares. Now, of course, the argument against that becomes, well, they're buying Bitcoin so that now they'll have a chance of rebuilding their business. Okay, so if that's the case, then why haven't we seen any more news from these businesses saying, hey, now that we've done this Bitcoin thing, we've got these revenues, and now we can start to build out our actual business, right? Because Bitcoin was supposed to be a savings technology. And also, for the people who weren't here back in 2020, right, you might not remember, but Michael Saylor had a melting ice cube. That's all he had. He had a melting ice cube, and he had to store his value in something that wasn't going away. But you see, that wasn't enough, right? It wasn't enough at that time. So he did that, and it didn't help enough. And then he realized that he can create a business out of this, right? Because his software business was actually going down. It's not just me saying that. Go look at the numbers. Go look at their revenues. So it's that particular aspect of it. He could be taking all of this money and investing in his software business and making it so that his software business creates new streams of revenue. And therefore, as a result, those streams of revenue could be covering dividend payments. They could be keeping the lights on, but instead doesn't have a business model that's thriving. It's going down. This is why all you're seeing is buying Bitcoin and kicking the MSTR shareholders in the nuts. So anyways, hey, Plastic, hello. Yeah, I know this is like a big, long, drawn-out thing, but yeah, as you could see, Mr. Dinkles, this type of stuff totally gets to me, right? Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Would love to see Microsoft's age out of relevance to where they have to capitulate and put some on. I know, right? It's like, oh God, Microsoft. Am I frozen for you guys? I appear frozen for me. I don't know if you guys can hear me still or whatever. But of course, Murphy's Law, things just break. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Oh, there. Oh, okay. My camera disconnected. Just bear with me a second, guys. I'm not sure what just happened there. Okay, you could still hear me? Yeah, I'm sorry. Give me a sec. I apologize. That's actually never happened to me before. It's an interesting one. Yeah, so going back to this whole thing, since you guys can still hear me, going back to this whole thing with Saylor, I just, his framing, thank you, by the way. His framing Okay, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Yay, nay, no, I can't tell. I think it's fixed. I'm pretty sure it's fixed. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, just to finish that off, right? It's that framing, right? That framing about the the businesses that aren't, why aren't you criticizing the businesses not buying Bitcoin? The whole point is that the businesses that are buying Bitcoin, the overwhelming majority, they're just crappy businesses, right? Like, and I'm not like, I know it sounds terrible, like, Phil, you're not giving them a chance. I get that, right? I get that. My point is that what we're seeing once they buy Bitcoin is not that they're trying to make their business better. Not all of them, right? A lot of them are just like, okay, we sold the shares. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. We did what we had to do for the marketing. So that's my whole thing. Anyways, I'm going to talk about this a lot more with Eric Yakes this afternoon, and hopefully we're not going to have any technical issues. I'll reboot. Okay. Anyways, let's believe it or not, I actually wasn't done with any of this. Anyways, the Senate Agricultural Committee advanced landmark crypto market structure legislation in a party line 12-11 vote, sending the bill to the Senate floor without bipartisan support. So it's moved ahead, right? The market structure bill is moving ahead, but you can see that there's still a lot of contention. Okay, there is still a lot of contention. Anyways, the measure would grant the CFTC expanded authority over digital assets and must later be merged with a separate SEC framework under the Senate Banking Committee. So it's just more can kicking, and we're going to wait. There's no clarity in this, right? Like what this just did, this is also one of those things that the market looks for, right? The market participants look for. They look for clarity. Like, yeah, this leads in the direction of clarity, but we don't know we don't know how much longer this is going to take. We don't know how many more objections there's going to be. We don't know how many more things are going to change. So all that fun stuff. All right, let's dive into the Russia stuff, right? Russia to roll out crypto regulatory framework this July, allowing retail participation. It's a really strange system they're going to be doing here. So Russia plans to cap retail crypto buys at $4,000 as it brings digital assets into the legal fold. So if I understood this correctly, and people can correct me if I'm wrong or if you understood differently, but this $4,000 limit is only for like the peons, right? Like the plebs. Like you have a $4,000 limit, and I believe that's annual. And the special qualified investors, though, they get no limit, if I understood correctly. Anyways, both qualified and unqualified investors will be allowed to buy cryptocurrencies under different rules, with qualified investors facing mandatory risk testing, but no limits on most purchases. Okay. Central bank is expected to approve a short list of major cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ether for broad trading, ban privacy coins like Monero, Ztrash, and impose penalties comparable to illegal banking for unlawful crypto activities. The central bank, the Russian central bank, will be tasked with compiling a list of top 5 to 10 cryptocurrencies permitted for trading. These will definitely include BTC and ETH. They might also add Sol or Ton, given their popularity in the country. The rest are only for qualified investors. Interesting. Yeah, exactly. That's Mr. Dinkles. You hit it right there. That's all it's going to be. It's just speculation. I find it interesting, though, that they impose these limits, right? Like it almost seems like it's the like it's a LARP, right? Like they're putting on a show, trying to make it seem like, hey, we're looking out for the little guy, but really it's just about control, and it's about maybe I'm wrong, but capital flight, but then again, that money would have to stay on their exchanges, so I think I'm wrong about that. Obviously, they want this all to stay in Russian local exchanges. That's right, guys. It's that time of the show. If you haven't signed the petition yet to get these guys free, please do so. If you feel so inclined to donate and help them out, please do so. If you listen to letter number 3, you know that the food in that system is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Anyways, nobody should be in jail for writing code. Okay? This is absolutely terrible. Anyways, guys, that does it for this episode. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I will be back at 2:30 p.m. Eastern today, and I'm going to be talking with Eric Yakes, who is I believe, the founder of Epoch VC, right? So they invest in Bitcoin companies. And we're going to sit down. We're going to have a very interesting talk because he had some choice comments, right? About what happened with that conversation between Danny and Saylor. So we are going to dive into that. We're going to dive into the Bitcoin treasury companies. He puts out this report every year through Epoch VC about his findings in the space. Obviously, I'm a little curious. Going to ask him, and we'll see what comes out of that one. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of the day. And for the people that will be joining me in a few hours, I'll see you then. Take it easy. Peace. Have a great weekend.